Salut.
Hello. Salut.
Okay, I'm here with YellOwStaR from FNATIC, obviously, and I'm going to do one of my interviews. It's not grilled now, it's called Reflections. It's my new series, but I want to start it off with you like this. So the first place everyone will remember your name is in Against All Authority, which even in esports in France is like a really famous name for a team. But everyone remembers that you guys actually lost the Season 1 finals to FNATIC with people you're playing now. When you think back on that team then, what are the first things you think of about Against All Authority when you were in them? What do you think of?
I would say Against All Authorities is the organization that could bring you on the scene, because we had no clue, had no organization behind us. We were just playing as a group, as a group of friends, let's say it. And we were taking part in online tournaments, and we were looking forward to playing offline in important tournaments if there would be. And it was actually a great time because they were supporting us and they were doing a great job. We know that we could trust them. And yeah, we finally took part in offline tournaments, and at that time we were really good at the scene, and yeah, it was really great times.
One of the things people, I think, always forget about Season 1 Championship is that when we look at the results, okay, so like FNATIC wins European team, AAA second best team, European team, but people forget, from what I've heard from other pros, at the time all the hype was like, oh, the Americans are going to win this, or TSM's going to win, CLG are going to win, like Europeans are going to get beat. Like, was it really like that at the time? Were you and FNATIC like underdogs? What was it like, do you think? Did you think the Americans were favorites?
Okay, so at that time, the Asian teams just the League of Legends was new games there, so we didn't really heard about Asia. Like they were not really playing. So the main question was, is NA better than EU or not? And so many people were streaming at that time as well, and they were saying, yeah, our region is better. And then this is the point where it started. I mean, NA expected to be really strong, and they came in the tournament and they completely lost to Europeans at that time. And yeah, now it's different because I would say everyone can be good and the level is much more closer than it was. So yeah.
When you think back to that time, so there was the Season 1 Championship was a really good result for your team, and then the next result that was good was where you finished 4th at IEM World Championship. But here's the thing, 4th looks good on paper. Like, okay, the teams you finished behind, like Moscow 5, awesome team, CLG was still really good at that time. But I remember talking to all these players and reading online that your team was supposed to be like, you were supposed to make the final of that event. It was supposed to be you versus Moscow 5. Like online, everyone was like, oh, yeah, kill everyone, they wreck everyone. They're the only team who can beat Moscow 5. Is this true?
That's true, but our main problem at that time was we were struggling against NA teams because we didn't really have that sense of analyzing people. We were not preparing enough, I would say, because now I know what we're doing good and what we're bad at. And yeah, if I could go back, I would spend more time analyzing like their picks, their priorities, their strategies. And I think that online we were looking really scary because we were beating M5 within 15 minutes. We're closing games really fast, and I think we were playing really good things, like OP, I would say. But we had that champion pool which was too small for us. And basically, we got a bit outpicked, and I would say outplayed as well because we didn't prepare enough.
Okay, so I want to ask about that topic because I've heard this topic that like AA could beat everyone except American teams. And we actually saw that later on when you went to the American tournament and did really badly. So what I want to ask was about this World Championship lineup, okay? Yeah. On paper, everyone said like, okay, the best players for AAA is Soaz, the great top laner, and Linak is like this jungler who's like really good. But then if you look at the teams who were the NA teams who beat you, so it was like Hotshot GG and St. Vicious, they were really good at the time. Then it was I Will Dominate and Voyboy for Dignitas. So these were like the star players there. Were those star players better than your star players at the time? Was there some approach that you didn't understand that NA did with their jungler and their top lane? What do you think?
I think Linak and Soaz had a really good synergy together, but when when we played against CLG and American teams like this, we really struggled. I really thought that Linak was one of the best players, and I believe that he was really strong at that time. It was mainly about timing, mostly. Every time their jungler was at a good place, and maybe he was spending too much time top, and NA was taking more objectives, and they were benefiting more than they were punishing us actually for our mistakes of positioning. But I think overall they were kill-wise they were really at the same level, even if EU could be better, but they had more that sense of a map awareness.
Because one of the things also is now a lot of fans who only watch League of Legends recently won't know who Linak is because he got this ban for toxicity or whatever, which isn't really surprising if you know French players. But okay, here's the thing I want to ask about him though, is when the hype was around AAA and everyone was saying, oh, they're going to beat Moscow 5, he was one of the main reasons because everyone said at the time, no one can beat Diamond Prox, but oh, maybe Linak can, like maybe his style is good against it. What did he do against Diamond Prox style that worked? Because at the time, no one else knew how,
Yeah, at that time, Moscow 5 was starting to be famous for their aggressiveness, but we found a way to beat them, and we managed to play more aggressive than them even. Like Linak was really aggressive, especially at top lane, because with their synergy, they could really take few kills top lane and then they could snowball from it. And then once you have that advantage, you can easily invade from top, or you can invade the buff, which shut down Diamond Prox in his jungle. And we know that Diamond is really a farm, he likes to farm. And we are just playing with that, and it was really working at that time. So yeah.
Okay, when I mentioned the MLG in the IPL tournaments, the North American ones, so one was in AAA. Were you also in the Millennium team afterwards that went there and had a bad tournament?
Yeah.
Okay, how was it that these two French teams that both were supposed to be really good went to America and everyone's like, oh, they're going to be a top team, and then you lost to almost the same team, I think, twice as well. The one with like Pixel, Nintendo X, and all those people. How did this tournament just go so badly 2 times?
Oh, it worst memories. So yeah, we were really happy because online we were doing really great. Like we were beating all the European teams, but we knew that in our mind someone was going wrong against NA teams. And that time we tried to prepare, and we were watching the games and picks and bans, but I think it was just can I restart?
Yeah.
Okay, I have to think about, like, it was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, is there like a key match in that tournament that stands out? Like, oh, that's where everything went wrong or something?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So the question was at IPL. Okay.
The one with the AA and then Millennium, the 2 bad tournaments.
With Millennium, what tournament? I didn't go to MLG, as far as I know.
There was a AAA team.
With AAA, we went to IPL.
And
Yeah.
then split up afterwards after doing so bad.
Yeah, we did. Millennium was before AAA. It was during August. That's why, yeah. We went to Millennium Organization for right after DreamHack.
Okay.
So we
it was
went
the other way around. Then you went to
Yeah.
Millennium, went to NA.
No, with Millennium we went to China.
Okay, just answer the one tournament then for AAA. I think is the one.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
So in March with March 2012, yeah. So in March 2012 we went to IPL 4 with AAA. We were really confident because online we were doing such a great performance. We were beating every EU teams. So in our mind we were, so let's show NA people that we're as strong online as we're offline. But we already know that we used to struggle against them, and this time we wanted really to prepare, not to get shut down really early in the tournament. And in our surprise, we got defeated by CLG. Even though we had the advantage early game, we always struggle at those team fights because maybe we were calling too greedy. You know, when you start to have some advantage early game, sometimes you do some calls which go totally wrong. And then after those bad fights, when we have the advantage, you get your mood goes down because everyone starts arguing each other during the game. And if the first game goes wrong and you start arguing during that game, the mood will obviously go down, and then you just cannot play the second game, and that's basically what happened. And we started to, I would say, have a bad atmosphere in the team. Like even during the game, I remember some of our players say, "I don't want to play with you anymore," and I was like, "Guys, please, we're in a game and we're playing. It's not over yet." And then we went to the loser bracket. Everyone was just mad at each other, and I was like, "This is not gonna be possible." And then it started to be the end of the team, I believe, because everyone was just not talking anymore in the game, which is a team game, and we cannot do that simply. And yeah, that was the beginning of the end.
So when I mentioned Linak there, and he got banned for being toxic player supposedly, it's actually a bad reputation that I'm sure you know, that French players in solo queue, even the really good ones, are supposed to be so toxic, etc. And when we look at these teams, okay, I've seen that, listen, if you put Soaz in FNATIC, a different team, he can be the best in the world, you know. But when all these French teams are in the best French team, it seems like there's infighting and there's problems. Is it just these players? Is there something about French people in League? What is it why is there such problems, do you think?
I think it's a mentality. It's a mentality that I have to find my words. Sometimes I just think about a lot of things, but I have to retranslate in English, and it goes bad. Okay. So at that time we were young, and you know, when you're young, you just react too fast. Like you're thinking something, but you say it instead of thinking only. So few words can go really wrong. Like if you hear something wrong, you'll say, "Oh, okay." Then I will reply to him, and then everything will just snowball from it. But I think you should just think before, and then this is just how you have to be. Your behavior has to improve, but at that moment you're just too nervous, or I don't know. You can just be pressured, and you just say things that you shouldn't say because it can hurt your teammates. It can put their mood at zero. And I wouldn't say that everyone is toxic. Like Linak could be known as toxic, but in our team he was doing a lot. Like he was the one who was playing the most. He was the one trying to train the most as well, because he knew that we had potential together. But our main problem was indeed, let's say we lose a game, and because of this or this reason, his mood will go down because he put maybe too much effort in it, and he knows that if he fails, it's like a bit of a failure. And I don't know. I wouldn't say that he's toxic as a team, but in solo queue, a lot of French people tend to be really toxic. But we're trying to change this, because before I was maybe raging, but I try to contain myself, and I don't even say anything to people, and I just keep it for me, else I just try to give them advice now.
After all these tournaments in a row, before you joined SK, before you joined FNATIC, did you ever worry, like, maybe I'm just never going to be a top pro because all these problems have happened, like losing to these teams and then these bad tournaments, and then there's a while where you didn't have a team and you didn't know where you were going to go? Did you ever think, like, I might have to retire, like maybe I'm never going to be in a top team? What did you ever think at this time?
So I think we had potential to really reach the top teams, as we did for the first championship. We scored second, so I think it's really good. And even in international tournaments, we were like 4. It's good on the paper. It's really good when you think about the top teams. But there was something that was missing, you know. And I knew that we could be really good at that time. We saw us top. I knew, because we could face the best player in the world. And with patience and motivation, I know that we were going to at least be at Worlds again during, I don't know, for 1 or 2 years. And basically I just keep working out, and yeah, it was a successful move.
When you joined up with SK, this was the time, people will forget now because now SK had a lineup for the whole of this year, the same lineup. So it seems now like they're really stable. But the old SK used to be, every month it seemed like a new player got kicked or added. Yeah. But when you joined, it looked like that was maybe when they were at their best. It looked really good. You beat CLG EU, you might go to the World Finals. I've heard from a lot of players, other players in the scene, like YellOwStaR is one of the main reasons why that team was suddenly really good. Like he was shot calling, he was telling them pick ideas and stuff. Is this true?
So at that time, when I left AAA, I was really looking forward to qualify for the Season 2 finals, but I had like 1 month only, and I was worried about me not making into it. And then suddenly I had Ocelot coming towards me and asking me, yeah, would you be available to take part in this tournament, which was ECC Poland? And I was worried because I didn't know if it was the best choice in terms of skill, but anyways, it was my last chance. So I said yes, and then we started boot camping, practicing, and yeah, I was putting a lot of effort, especially it was holiday times, so I had free time always because I was going to university back then before holidays. And then I was just dedicated to this game, and I had just this thing to think about only, because when I'm at home, maybe my parents are here and I cannot fully focus. And so yeah, when I'm fully focused in the game, I can come out with a lot of ideas and strategies and shot calling. But I was playing AD back then, and it was really not easy for me to focus on my role, to farm, to position myself. So I was doing both at the same time, and I think it was why it was successful. With Arani, we were doing all the strategies, level 1. I was doing all the shot calls during the team fights, or yeah, Ocelot, you have to move here, Kevin, you have to come at this time. And it was working pretty well at that time, because people were not playing as good as they are playing now. And I think this is the main reason why we succeeded at that time.
Because this is something I wanted to ask you about, since you've been a shot caller, so you've done the role and you know about how it works. In the past, whenever I talked to teams, they either had like Korean style, where one guy is just a shot caller and he tells everyone what to do and you just listen to him. Or in Europe, they tend to do the opposite. Like everyone says what they want and then you decide in the game. But they're like the two extremes, I've heard from some teams, like sometimes it's better to have maybe 2 people do it. And then maybe one person is like the main caller late in the game. But then sometimes often it's the jungler. Maybe you have the jungler early game. He because he's going to set up his ganks and stuff. He calls, I will initiate now and like that. What do you think is the ideal setup for a team?
It depends. I think everyone has to take part in this role, because let's say you're bot lane and you're playing with 2 players. You have to coordinate with him. You have to tell him when to go, and you can coordinate with the mid player, the jungler. It really depends of how the game goes, where you can get kills and where you can create actions. And yeah, and everyone has to take part in this. You have to have a main shot caller, obviously, in team fights. Let's say, okay, I want to engage now, and then someone has to defend me. So basically, there is not only one voice in a game, in an entire game.
How long so far? You need to cut or anything?
I think we're good. I think maybe another 5 minutes.
Okay. So can you compare these 3 junglers for me in the sense that we were just talking about here? Like, how do they communicate with the team? Do they like call the initiation in a fight? Do someone else tell them what to do? So the 3 junglers I want to compare is Linak, Aranea, and Cyanide. Okay. So how is it different with these 3 in the team? What do they do?
Okay, so first of all, I will start with Linak, because it was my first jungler in my team. He was really active. Let's say he didn't talk that much because they know how they were playing, so as on him, and mostly it was action top, because at that time it was mostly gank top. And yeah, they were pretty successful at the time. They were getting kills, and Suaz was getting ahead. Then yeah, he was making some calls. He had a lot of smart ideas, like he really wanted to play aggressive and invade. His specialty was to invade and deny buffs, and yeah, he was really aggressive, and he was even calling for that, like, yeah, let's go there, let's go there. Okay, it was good. Then with Arani, it was the same as well. He was the crazy Spanish, like always hot blood, like he wanna fight, he wanna go always, even if he's behind, he doesn't mind, as long as he put someone behind. He doesn't mind getting behind himself, but he minds a lot of denying them, the enemy team. And he was talking a lot, he was screaming a lot, like it was giving us energy and bumping up. So yeah, he was kind of a shot caller during the beginning of the game, but then I was taking over because in team fight, yeah, you have to protect me. I was AD carry, and then with Cyanide is different. He plays strong jungle early game, but he's asking us. He's not making calls like yeah, do you need help? Yeah, I do. But he's taking some initiative sometimes, but sometimes he prefers to farm and rather counter jungling. So it's really different, but we have to adapt, and it's our job as well to play with him. And I think he's doing pretty well. And yeah.
Since you were doing the shot calling from AD carry, this is like really unusual for anyone who's watching now who doesn't know. Usually it's maybe like nowadays maybe the mid laner does it, or maybe the jungler or some position like this. Because the really hard thing about doing it from AD carry is that even if you're trading with the enemy, you still have to keep the CS up. So even that is usually why the AD carry tunnel visions, and usually he's the guy not listening to everyone else on the map. Did it cause your actual like CS farming to suffer when you would do the calling as well? Did it like even out because you were good enough at the calling? What do you think it was like at that time period? Like could you do it again now if you needed to?
I don't think so. I don't think I could shot call again playing AD, because now the game has changed, to be honest. Like you have to focus on CS, alright, but it's easy for the enemy team to one-shot you as well, so you have to care more about the positioning. And at that time, I was not the best at farming. I know I was missing a lot because of this, and that's why I was talking to my team. Yeah, maybe we should change, because I cannot really focus on that, fully focus on my role, and that's why sometimes I do some mistake. And yeah, now I switch to support, and it's really easier for me to take care of what's going on, what can we do on the map, and to shot call.
Okay, so you've changed now to support, but here's something unusual that might surprise you. When I did some interviews with French players, one of them told me in 2012, YellOwStaR was like the best AD carry in the world. Now, it was a French player, remember, you're French, so I understand he might be a little bit biased. Was there ever a time where you felt like I'm absolutely one of the best AD carries? I mean, like mechanically, no one ever said like you're the best in the world mechanically. So what do you think he was referring to there? What was about your game that was so good at AD carry?
Yeah, I think back at that time in AAA, I think I could be considered as one of the best AD in Europe only, because then I met that I'm a cutie pie in Hanover 2012, and I really got shut down. I was wondering, is it my support, or is it me, or do they play really well together, or is it him outplaying me? And I had really a hard time against him. I got denied, which never happened to me. And really, I couldn't find any words on that match, and we got really, I would say, stomped. That's the word, because we really hard lose, and it was really hard for me at that time, because I didn't know what I could play. I was playing, let's say, a matchup, and then he was taking my character, and I was taking his, and I was still losing. I was like, I don't know what can I do? Is he too strong for me, or am I just not good enough? And then I realized that there was always better than you, anyone better than you. And that's why I've been keeping playing. Like, I want to improve. I know that there is always better than me, and I wanna keep playing.
When you moved to FNATIC, the strange thing about your scenario was, if we forget that Reckles exists, okay, then it looks like, wow, things are going really well in FNATIC. You join FNATIC, they beat Gambit, they win the LCS spring season. It's like, wow, that's like the best possible start. But even though your team won the spring season, I'm pretty sure every fan, and maybe even some FNATIC players in the back of their mind was like, yeah, but when Reckles is 17, we're going to have to move YellOwStaR and we're going to have to get Reckles back. Like, at the time, we didn't know that you would be able to move to support. Back when you were playing AD carry in this time in FNATIC, were you thinking this as well in the back of your mind? Like, even if I win, they'll probably still go for Reckles?
So we always say, why would you change something when you're winning?
Sure.
All right. But okay, I have to admit that Reckless really impressed me. When he was coming out of nowhere, he started playing DreamHack, IPL, and he was playing among the best players in the world back then, like the Chinese World Elite. And I was really impressed. And back then I was at university, so I was not fully focused on the game. And I was like, well, I think this guy is really good and really talented. And then they needed an AD carry since Reckless couldn't play LCS because of the age restriction. And I was like, I don't know, I have too much pressure on my shoulders. Maybe a lot of people are going to blame me if we don't succeed. Sure. How will I manage to do that? Even for the team itself, it's really hard. It's choking because they were pretty successfully, and now they just lose one of their best player. And back then I was not too confident in my playstyle because I was not playing too much. And it was really hard for me to play because we were doing bad in scrims, we were losing to a lot of teams, and I was feeling guilty not to be good enough for them. And then we managed to qualify for the LCS. For me, I could breathe again. I could, we make it. But even if we struggled really hard, I thought that we were going to lose. And I actually asked them, how did you feel? Because we were just really close to get eliminated from the tournament. And I said, in the game, I asked Peke, and he told me, I was already thinking during the game, what am I gonna do if we lose now? Am I going back to school? And I was like, oh my God, imagine if you would have lost that. I would have felt so guilty for not being good enough. And finally it was really good. Even the season went really well. We even won it, and I was not really worried. I knew that I had my spot in the team, and I wasn't thinking about that at all.
Okay, but when you say that, like, I had my spot, you didn't say like I was going to be the AD carry in the team. So was it really like the problem with how N-rated got removed is that the story to the public sounds a bit weird, because it sounds like when the team was winning in the spring split, everything was fine. Like you're saying, when you're winning, you don't change anything. Yeah. But then suddenly when the team was doing badly in the summer split, everyone was like, oh, I guess we have to kick N-rated. He's the guy who has to go. So what really happened?
No, so what happened is we struggled. Like we started losing our games, and it was not good at all, because the previous split we were like, okay, we're one of the best team in Europe, and even without practicing too much, we can even make it first, and it's fine. And then coming to the second split, new teams are coming, it's new patch, new heroes, and everything is so motivated, pumped up to rock the season, the beginning. And we were not playing at our best at all, and we were not giving efforts into improving our game. And we were wondering, why are we losing? And then we were watching replays, we were asking each other, what can we do better to improve, like, because we're just playing ridiculously bad. And we think for so long, and we could find a problem, and we pointed out this thing, and we told him many times, we have to practice this, we have to have a better champion pool, to have a better synergy together, play the best, what's the best at the moment. And I think it was a lack of motivation, really, and I cannot understand why, because we had everything. This is a dream for a pro gamer to live this. We have a gaming house, we have basically everything to be happy here, and I don't know why he lost this motivation, and this is mainly the reason why we had to do this.
Because the interesting thing was, when he was removed, it was a surprise to many people that, oh, wait a minute, YellOwStaR will actually be the support. It's not that they'll get a new support player. They'll move YellOwStaR, and then obviously Reckles could join as the AD carry then. Does that, since then you were actually really good at support, and so now no one has to think, are they going to kick YellOwStaR? He's like a member of the team now. But when you guys brought in Puchu, like it was obvious when he was brought in, you know, he's just going to be temporary until Reckles joins, and so there's almost no pressure on him. He's like got a trial chance to show everyone else, maybe in other teams, that he's really good. But I wondered, was it kind of similar for you? Like, were you sort of on trial at support? Like, if you'd have done really badly at World Championship, you think there'd be a different support for FNATIC now? What do you think?
So I think Pushu had a lot of pressure actually, because he knows that we have a lot of expectation in our team. Like every player is motivated and we give 100% effort to reach that level we could have. I was really worried once again because I had to move from AD to support without any experience. I have a clue about what to do, but you know, when you face the best players in your region and you have no experience, you cannot expect the best at beginning. And I was so worried because yeah, I could play what's simple to play, but not that great, you know. And yeah, I had to practice a lot compared to the others because I knew I don't want to look ridiculous. No one has to tell me that I play bad because I know myself when I do any mistakes, what I could do better. And yeah, I had to play, to give 150% more than the others. And I know that everyone should be afraid of getting kicked because let's say you perform badly, you can get out. It's as simple as that, because the competition is here. You're here to win, but yeah, happens.
If this is how, okay, so since an AD carry in most teams is like a star player because his mechanics have to be very good, usually they're like big egos play AD carry, okay. So I'm pretty sure if you ask a lot of AD carries, they'd tell you like, oh, I know exactly what a support should do. You know, he should be like here and here, and when I'm doing that, he should be doing that. So they would think to themselves, if I wanted to switch to support, I could probably do it. But I mean, just Loco Doco used to be an AD carry. I think we saw when he switched to support, it wasn't very good. Yeah. I can think of a few other people who AD carry might be really good, but I don't think they'd be very good if they switched to support because it's like a really different way of thinking. Did you find, because you got good at support so quickly, when you switched over, did you just find like, oh, I'm naturally actually kind of suited to this? Or did you learn something new about how to play that allowed you to play support? What do you think?
Yeah, actually, I had to first think a lot about what people were playing and why they were playing this and how does it work, like the wording system. I actually have an idea when I was playing AD at that time, but it was more complex than it looked.
Give me an example. Like, what do you mean?
Let's say I had some pinks and I have some greens, and let's say I put a pink here, and then the guy is, he failed in my trap, and then he's just on wording, and then I felt we have no vision. Wow, what do I have to do now? If I back, we fall behind, and if we back now, it's not good for my AD because he's zoned. And that's the feeling I had when I was AD, and I was wondering why. And yeah, it gave me a lot of answers, and I just adapt. And I playing AD carry, I had expectations from my support, and yeah, I was trying to do the best to annoy their AD carry because I know, yeah, I wanna farm this, and I know, yeah, he's gonna farm this, so I can harass him or whatever. So I'm just the support, and the support is here to control the lane, and not only the lane, he has the CC, he has the stun, so he's basically the playmaker on the lane, but not only on the lane because he had to shot calls and he had to put a rhythm on the game, and yeah, that's why I love it. I can make a lot of things without worrying about farming, for example, and I think it matched me really better than playing AD.
When you were at the Season 3 World Championships and you were playing support, obviously, like, this is like against the best teams in theory, you're going to have to test whether you're very good. I talked to a lot of other support players who are pros behind the scenes, and they all told me like, wow, I never knew YellOwStaR was this good. Like, his Leona is fucking amazing. Like, what were you always that good, and it just took until the Season 3 Championships before it came out? Like, what changed?
So basically what changed is the training. Like, you know, when you're planting something and it will grow up one day. And I was starting playing so much from when I switched to AD carry to support because I had so many heroes to practice. And then we were still struggling with Pushu, like our lack of communication, knowledge about the lane. And then I was like, why don't I practice only a few heroes to become really good with those, and which could be played with a lot of ADs. And then I came out with this idea, which is like classic, you know. But then we started to win during the relegations. Like every team was so close during the LCS, and I find out myself what to play and what could match me, because we were still struggling a bit. And yeah, we miss Engage, we miss things, we miss this and that. And then I was thinking a lot with Peke until like really really late in the night. And we came out with tactics, with what matches better with the team, what works or not. And yeah, we found our playstyle back, and that's where we started to play good, I would say. And then at Gamescom, I was surprised myself, us doing really good, because we're losing most of the time to Lemon Dogs during the scrims. And we finally beat them during the finals in Gamescom, which put us at first place. And back then we were so happy, we were so confident, and we knew that we have we were able to perform that well. And from this we were really motivated, and we really had the will to win. And during the group stage, yeah, I could feel it. I could feel people, yeah, I want to win, I want to do my best, I want to give my best. And then the first game we lose. I was like, no guys, it cannot happen. What's going on? And then yeah, we started to talk again and again. We were writing on paper what we did wrong, what we could improve, and everything went so smooth again. And yeah, I think it was just about motivation and what you really want people to do, because I know that people are skill-wise, they are really good in my team and really talented. So yeah, it's just about the will.
Because when these players would mention that you were doing really well, they always mentioned your Leona. And we saw, like, in this tournament, it was a really good champion for you. What is the secret? Like, what is your formula to how you play Leona? How do you like to play the champion, and how does it work best for you?
Okay, so I discovered Leona when I was playing AD carry back then. It was with Unrated. And I knew how strong this character was, but it was a bit too all-in, let's say, because once you're in, you cannot get out. If you get baited, you die. If you go in at that time, you will die as well. So it's really about timing and map awareness. Yeah, I knew that it could match with some heroes, bursty heroes, and you could one-shot someone literally. And I know, yeah, this could match me. I could choose this hero because I like this style. And I tried few games during the scrim, and I was like, wow, it can actually work. And this is those heroes I like Zyra, Leona, and all those catchy heroes that can make plays. And in team fights, it's really good for your team as well. And I really like them. So that's why I play them mostly.
Since you're someone who understands how a shot caller thinks, and you understand like the picks and bans side of the game as well, not just individual style, I wanted to ask you about this semi-final against Royal Club. Now, what was strange to me was when I was talking to all the other people, and before this game happened, we were like looking down the list of players for both teams, and we were like, okay, so AD carry, like Royal Club has the best AD carry, so they will win this area here. But okay, FNATIC has a chance because, you know, they have Soaz, he can win top lane, and definitely Expeke will win mid lane, that is for sure. You know, he's the best European. And then the games happened, and Expeke was getting crushed by Whites. And now people can see, okay, it turns out Whites is really good at counterplaying and picking the counters, and he can play them all, it seems. But we didn't know this before. Like, when you think back, did FNATIC have the wrong approach in how they picked? What did you do wrong?
Yeah. So we actually prepared against Royal Club. Like, it was actually a very important match. I would say the most important match in our career back then, from now on. And we were too afraid about White's fees. And we really wanted to deny him, but then they played it really smart because they swap lane, means that our mid laner needed our jungle to kill or to snowball or something, because Whites was really dominating PK with Orianna against Fizz. And they played it really smart because we couldn't do anything. And You know, when you hear in TeamSpeak like, "Oh, I need help. I cannot handle this. You have to come here." And then, "No, I cannot. I have to help him because if I leave, then he's gonna die." And it was already so messy in the first game, and I was not too happy again because I even died, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is not good at all." And this is the first game of the series. Well, there is 2 more left or 3 left. It doesn't matter. Then we go next. We really were thinking about the second game being in the first one, and again we do the same mistake. We let them Oriana, which was really strong at that time. She could really easily handle 1v1, and yeah, I think the Riot Club team was really smart playing their style. They were forcing their lane to be really strong compared to us, and we did not follow their swap, and I think this is what make us in difficulty really, and their strength to engage and to fight together and to force objective was really good, and we failed at that.
Because I have another pick question about the same series. Because again, okay, like I said, the 2 advantages I thought for FNATIC is, okay, Expeke for sure because he's so good, but definitely Soaz, because usually, unless it's like maybe some Korean could beat Soaz, but everyone else, we always think, okay, the reason Soaz is so good is because he plays so many champions, he can just pick whatever he needs to beat you, okay. But then I watched this series and I'm thinking, okay, come on, Soaz. And then every game it's like Zach, and then he plays Zach again. Like, what was going on where you played Zach 3 times? So what was the thinking on the team to have him pick this?
Okay, so Soaz is known for playing so many things, and he showed it at All-Stars, and he even won this tournament against Koreans. He has always impressed me. He's playing so many stuff, like crazy stuff. Yeah, I know I'm gonna beat him, but then I'm gonna still be useful in lane, in teamfight, so don't worry, guys. And Soaz has always won his lane against Royal, except when he swaps. So basically 1v1, Soaz almost never lose. He always go equal or even be ahead. And Zach was really strong at that time. That's why he was winning lane. You can be really useful in team fights. We're thinking about that. Like, we know that with that champion, he has a lot of abilities to turn team fight in our favor and to engage as well. So if we have some follow-up, we should be able to win. But as I said, Royal was really aware of that, and they were just working on the other side of the map. The jungler was almost never top. He was ganking, he was taking objectives, and that's why Soaz was ahead in 1v1. And I don't know, that there was something missing again, and I'm still thinking about what we could have done better and what we can improve for next season. And yeah, we're still looking for improvement.
Since you were playing in the bottom lane in that game, I should obviously ask you about Uzi, because when I was watching as a spectator, there's a clip that everyone's probably watched a million times on YouTube where Uzi is like unkillable in the team fight. He just like perfectly tumbles and kites the whole team around with like no health. Was he really like unkillable in game? What was it like to play against him?
To play against him on lane, actually he was not doing that good, like as good as people say. It was rather tabe, because you know that the support is controlling the lane, and he was pretty good at it. Like playing together as a unit, they were really good together, and that's why they were beating us on lane. Like Pushu was getting outfarmed is mostly because of that, but as well we were starting with disadvantage. Let's say at the beginning of some games we were already behind, and they were abusing this advantage. And I remember in some team fights I feel really weak because he had cleanse, he had QSS, and in that fight, yeah, it was impossible to catch. I was trying again and again, and in only one game I felt like, yeah, he's so good at positioning and he's so safe, his team is protecting him so well. But I felt like he was like top tier AD, but not, he was maybe too hyped, but he was really good as well, like one of the best ADs in the world, obviously.
Because he looked so good in that game and Royal won that series over you guys, it was so exciting. Everyone thought, oh, this final will be so good. Royal Club versus SKT, it'll be it'll be all 5 games, and it was probably one of the most boring finals I've ever seen because SKT just killed them completely. If somehow FNATIC had won that semi-final, Would you have gotten stomped by SK?
So I have a funny insight because we had to practice against SKT for the semifinals, and I can tell you that it was terrible. Our scrims, Fnatic is known as being bad in scrims, okay, and even when we lose really hard, we don't really mind. We are thinking about what we could have done better, why it happened, and why are we not playing at 100%. And they even told us, SKT told us, guys, play serious, please. But then we were actually playing serious and doing our best, and we couldn't even win a single map against SKT. So I think it couldn't have changed anything. We would have lost. We won 2 games out of 30. So basically it's nothing, and I think it would have been the same. SKT was just simply the best in this tournament.
So a question I have that will sound abstract is like this. When you were telling me before about what changed in your mind when you moved to support, like the way you had to think about warding was different from how you used to think it was when you were AD, I think you're the only person in the world who can tell me about the Gambit bot lane, but from both sides. Because most people, if they're an AD carry, they only talk about Genja and if they think he's good or an idiot or whatever. And then if they're a support, they'll talk about how good Edward is or whatever. But you've played both roles and you've played against both of them. So how does their bot lane work? How would you describe it, Genja and Edward?
So at first, when I was playing AD, Genja was really passive. Like he was not taking care of the enemies. He was only farming, and Edward was the guy harassing, controlling the lane. And I was really frustrated because I said, yeah, why my support is not doing the same? Why can I not be just focusing on farm and you just harass them without dying or something like that? And I was like, wow, why? And then I started playing support, and I'm like, yeah, you have some windows, some timing where you can do that easily. And now I just understand everything. But I think, Gambit, their play style was to deny. Like they also play smart, and they're really good at freezing lanes and make you behind, and make you be behind, and then they just snowball from that. I remember when I was playing AD, I was wondering why is Genja always farming and not joining his team. They are basically playing 4v5, and that's why I think they were so behind when they had a disadvantage. And I found out this, and I was trying to abuse this and tell my team, we should do this and that, because Genja is always gonna farm, and once he has his core items, he's gonna join the team fights. And then it was always like this, but now it has changed. He has played with so many supports, and I think he missed Edward the most. That's why they are back together. And once again, I think they are really solid together, and they are playing pretty well. And Genja is actually adapting to the meta now. He's moving a lot. He's roaming. He's doing the right items. He's doing the right things. So he's back, obviously.
One of the things people always used to make fun of Genja for is all his builds. And not even just the Doran's builds, because some people also go 3 Dorans, okay? Yeah. That sometimes happens. But the fact that he would do these builds, like building Tear of the Goddess on everything, or where he would like go BF Sword into like something else, back into like another BF Sword, never finishing an item. Are his builds really weird? Do you kind of understand his mind? Like what do you think he's thinking when he doesn't finish an item and instead he starts building towards another thing? What is he doing there, do you think?
I don't know if it's Genja who is behind all this build, because when you think about it, it's really smart. When he goes for 3 Doran Blades, he actually goes for full armor pen in runes, and that deals a lot of damage. And then with Varus, I remember at that time you were maxing the E spell, and he was already maxing the Q spell and going for mass AD, and I was like, why is he doing that? And then like 2 months later, with the new patch, but it was with the new patch, it was actually the best. But I was wondering, why are you doing this now? It's not the right timing. And then I don't know, this guy is just theory crafting, or I don't know if it's him, but he's really good at it, and I think he's trying to find an original way to build his heroes, but in a good way. Like maybe it's the best way, maybe it's really good. I cannot tell.
In general, one of the things I thought about when he does these weird build paths is it feels like he only thinks about what he needs for the next 5 minutes. Okay, so when he's back in base, he thinks, what am I going to do in the next 5 minutes, and he just gets wherever he has to buy for that. Whereas most players, they have something in mind at the beginning of the game, like I'm going to go Bloodthirster into Last Whisper, Phantom, whatever the order is set in mind. Do you think other players do this as well, or is he unique in this sense? What do you think?
Yeah, so being AD carry, I think you don't have to think a lot because you have most of the time you have only 2 or 3 possibilities maximum, but you just have to adapt, and this is how you distinguish the best AD carries, how you have to adapt, when you have to build this item or your build order, and I don't think you have to go in the game and say, yeah, I'm gonna build this and this and that, but you could if you think really well of who's gonna be fed, how the team fight are gonna go, who can go on me. So it's a long processes to think about, and yeah, it's just not that hard to think about.
Okay, because I had a question. Okay, when I did an interview with Doublelift and I asked him about Genja, he's one of the people who doesn't think Genja's good. Okay, he thinks like, because if you think about it, they have the opposite play styles. Yeah. Like the Doublelift style is like the hyper carry, and in every team fight, he's like in the middle, killing everyone. Whereas the Genja style is like the opposite. He always plays those like long range spell champions, and he's actually outside the fight. He's never getting hit. He's just killing everyone, getting the last hit on everyone. Obviously, I can understand to Doublelift why that doesn't seem like a good style, because if Doublelift tried that style, it wouldn't work. Okay, but if Genja does it, it seems like in the Gambit's team that works really well, because in Gambit, Genja isn't the star. It's Alex H. It's Darian's engaging, Diamond Prox. Everyone else is aggressive basically, so Genja doesn't need to be. Do you think of that style of AD carry where you're not really carrying full on, you're just like an outside player in the team fight? Does it work? Does it only work for Genja? Are there other players who do this as well, do you think?
So actually, this kind of heroes Genja plays are really useful. Let's say Ash, Varus, those team fights champions are really good because you provide a lot of CC that allows your team to play something else than champions having CC. So basically, he's a team player. He doesn't want to be in front of the camera showing off, yeah, I'm the best, and yeah, I can make the plays, because his plays are actually being good with his team. As long as he wins, he doesn't mind. And CLG has a totally different style. They build everything around Doublelift, because as long as he's fed, everything works okay. But if he's not fed, something will go wrong. If, let's say, he's not good in the game, he will just spend his time farming like Genja does, and they are exactly the same then. But since he has a hyper carry, which is not fed, it's not gonna work.
Because someone once made a comment to me, okay, when the top laners like Darian started using Aatrox, someone made a joke like, oh, this is like a champion that was almost invented for Darian, because since Darian's dying all the time, he's activating the passive. Like it's a funny joke, but it's accurate. Okay, I almost thought when I watched IEM Cologne, like it's almost like Lucian is invented for Genja, because he's right on the outside. He can shoot the culling from really far. He has an escape to get away if they come in on him. What do you think? Is it a good champion for him?
I think Lucian can have different styles, but I think it really match Genja, because it has a lot of burst. It's safe. It can shoot from far, and yeah, it's even better because you can join the fights. I know that Genja thinks a lot about, is it worth to go now? Is it worth to do something else? So he's thinking a lot, and he's playing really smart. Let's say, for example, he's not gonna flash for a kill if it puts him in bad situation for later. So yeah, he's passive and really safe. I would describe his style. And Lucian is kind of this hero, yeah.
Okay. Let me think. Okay, actually, it was a question about IEM Cologne. So in this tournament, you got to play against Doublelift in the bottom lane. And even though there was all this trash talk, like who's going to be better, in the end, it didn't really seem like anyone was much better than everyone. Like the two AD carries did okay, and it was kind of the other lanes that decided the game. Yeah. And so Doublelift didn't do bad. Like in score, I think he just did okay, or sometimes he did a little bit above average. But at the same time, like we were saying in your answer, he's kind of the star of their team. And so things are set up so that in theory, he's supposed to win the game for them. Did you do anything special to try and make it harder for him or to shut him down? Did you have something in mind when you and Reckless went against him?
So Reckless told me before the game, he told me, yeah, we have to win this series. We have to win this game, obviously. Otherwise, I would be sad. And then I would say, yeah, don't worry. And I told him he's like a normal AD because you've played against the best ADs in the world. You've played against him, so we should be able to do something good, you know. And then when we faced him 2v2, I didn't feel he was extraordinary good. I felt like he was normal. I mean, why is he trash talking so much? Why does he think he's so good? To me, before I start the game, I don't even think who I am playing against. Let's say he has a good reputation. I don't want to be scared. I just play my game and then that's it. And for the first game, they started to dive me at level 2. I was like, what are they doing? And then finally Reckless got fed and I was like, yes, Doublelift is gonna be crushed. And then no, I know that he's experienced. He has a lot of experience and he's not really stressing a lot. So the second game, he actually came back from that, and then we said, no, we have no choice, Reckless, we have to beat him. And then we went for the 2v2 lane, and then it really go well, and yeah, he's not particularly good.
When you watch OGN and Korean games, are there any Korean supports who play like you play support?
Can you repeat the question?
Like, is there a Korean player who has a similar style at support as YellOwStaR has at support?
I wouldn't say so. I've never seen one guy playing Leona, for example. Like, I love those catchy heroes like Zara, Leona, Thresh, and all of kind of heroes. And I've never seen really one playing this because it's too all-in. I mean, it's too risky to play this hero and it's maybe not good. But who knows, we've played against Samsung Ozone and it was really good. I mean, we had no problems. And yeah, it just depends of how people see the things. And who knows, maybe one day.
When you watch the Korean teams in general, now there must be players, in North America or in Europe who skill-wise are as good as some of the best Koreans, maybe even like Soaz, Expeke, the very skilled players. Is there something about the Korean understanding of the game that you think is ahead of other regions?
I think most of the Korean players has a small champion pool. Let's say they have 4 heroes maximum, but they practice them a lot, so they know what they are able to do against this champion or not. And they are playing in a smart way, but as well mechanically they do really few mistakes, and us as Europeans or Americans, we do much more than they do, and they are really more coordinated since they play more. They have a better team play and they do better team fights, and this is why they are better. Even in lanes, they skill wise, I would say they are not one step ahead, but just a bit ahead, yeah.
This will sound like a strange question. Since in your team you have Soaz is one of the best, absolute best Western players at top lane, Expeke one of the best mid laners, Cyanide played for so long with Expeke, he's known to be good. Reckless now, a lot of hype, people say he's really, really good. In theory, you could have all these players be stars, and maybe YellOwStaR doesn't even have to be the best at his position, and they could still be the best team in the world, okay? Based on how much you've played support now, if I come back to you in 1 year, could YellOwStaR be like the best support in the whole world? Do you think you have to be? What do you think?
So my aim has always to be among of the best players, because I know that one day I will maybe not be as good as I am now regarding the scene. I know that one day I will maybe play bad and someone will have to replace me. I'm really aware of that, so I'm just doing my best. I'm just always motivated, and I know that as long as I keep this motivation really high, I can perform. So I always give my best, and I'm always dedicated towards this game, and this is why it works since so long now.
Okay, so aliens come to Earth, and they kill everyone in FNATIC except YellOwStaR. And what they say is, you know, Koreans are the best, and YellOwStaR has never won a world championship, so we're going to give you the chance to win a world championship. What you have to do is make FNATIC again, but it's just all Koreans. And so you have to find me a Korean who's like SOAS, a Korean like Cyanide, a Korean like Expeke, a Korean like Reckless. Who would you pick of the Koreans to be like all your teammates? Who would you want?
So I hope my team is not gonna see that, okay? No. Top lane, I would take Flame from Blaze.
Any reason?
SOAS has always told me that he was the one, you know, the best. Even if SKT was at Worlds, he knows that they are not all the best players in their domain. So I would take Flame. In the jungle, I would say Diamond Prox because I love this guy. He's the one innovating the Korean. So yeah, can we restart?
Yeah,
okay.
just do that back again.
So I hope my teammates are not gonna see that.
Just start from the
Okay.
jungle part.
Okay.
To the top number.
Okay. So jungle. I don't remember his name.
Which team? I can tell you.
Jin Air. Do you remember?
Which one?
He I don't know. He is playing Riven a lot.
Well, yeah, which Jin had? There's two. There's Stealths and Falcons.
I think it was Falcons.
Isn't that Reaped? Wasn't he playing jungler?
I think so, but no, it was not his. It was not him, no.
Maybe in the other team, the Stealth one?
Probably.
Let me think, who could that be? Isn't he called Aktseen?
Yeah, it was this guy.
This guy?
Yeah, but I've only seen few games from him. Okay, so in jungle, I will say Kakao. He is really good. I see he I don't know between Kakao and Bengi because Bengi, his timing are just so perfect. Every time I watch him playing, he's always at the right place. But Kakao, on the other hand, he's making a lot of good choice in his style as well. I cannot decide between those two. I would say Bengi because this is what you need for to dominate, you know, to be really good in the game. Mid laner, I would take Faker, obviously. AD, there are so many good players. And the bottom lane, I would take Piglet and Pumandu, just because together they are so good. I've played against them, and I know what they are able to. I've almost never won against them, and for that I just respect them, and I know that they're really good.
Why were they so unwinnable when you play them? Why can't you beat them?
It's just synergy. Like they know. Let's say they're just betting us when they know they can win. They take such good fights, and their reflex is so good as well. And yeah.
Okay. Do you have anyone you want to thank at the end of the interview, or say hello to, or?
Yeah, I would like to thank everyone that is following us and supporting us, obviously, and thanks to you for the interview.
Sponsors or anyone?
Yeah, thanks to our sponsors. Yeah.
Okay. Merci.
Merci.